You're learning more details about the upcoming $1.6 billion defamation trial against Fox News, including some of the network's most familiar faces taking the stand. A Delaware judge just ruled that Dominion voting systems can force Fox's top boss, Rupert Murdoch, and his son Lachlan to testify live on the witness stand. Dominion Voting making the request for the in-person testimony. So who else is on that list? Well, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Maria Bartiromo, just a few of the hosts slated to be in the hot seat later this month, testifying under oath about their role in the network's promotion that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from former President Trump. The claims part of the alleged smear campaign against Dominion voting systems, which now will have to prove the network and its hosts acted with malice. So NewsNation media contributor Colby Hall joins us live. Colby, thanks for being here. There's a lot developing, but we're going to focus on who Dominion wants to take the stand. And just today, the ruling that both Rupert Murdoch and his son Lachlan do have to testify live when this goes to trial in just a few weeks. Why was it so important for Dominion to have the Murdochs taken to task in person?
Well, the judge has already sort of ruled that there was falsification, that the stuff that was put on air about Dominion was not true. What they need to prove is malice, right, to the core of the defamation case, right? So what we know from sworn testimony that was leaked or revealed by Dominion was that Rupert Murdoch basically admitted that his on-air talent endorsed the idea that Dominion switched votes or was responsible for what was alleged to be a stolen election, which we now know, of course, was not. So putting Rupert Murdoch and other executives and the on-air talent on the stand and making them testify under oath, and we know that they can't lie in what they've already said, under testimony, will be among the more fascinating things media experts and analysts and nerds like me it will be a spectacle of spectacles, and I think it stands to be like a really influential trial of the century that will inform the way that political media will have guidelines moving forward.
And I want to talk about more about that. Let's talk, though, about this talent that we're talking. Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity. How damning could this testimony potentially be? Because we're talking about people who certainly know how to craft words, because it is what they literally do for a living.
They are pros. They are the most professionals of pros when it comes to on-air talent. They are experts at crafting messaging and sharing their opinion in a way that sort of, threads a needle between what is their opinion and what is partisan. I will say that they're really powerful and very wealthy, and they're not used to being pushed back on or cross-examined. So it'll be really interesting to see how they address questions, how they push back. I think a lot of these individuals are not used to being told that they're wrong, and we could see some frustration, especially when it comes to Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch. There's this HBO series Succession, which I think is loosely based on the Murdochs. It's easy to see that Rupert Murdoch will get frustrated with tough questioning in a court, and that could really damn him in his reputation. To your question, though, how much will this hurt or could potentially hurt Fox News? Maybe not that much, because I think they're betting that a lot of Fox News viewers won't hear much about this.
Yeah.
And the people that do hear about it pretty much already know this to be true. So I fear that it will end up sort of separating or creating, a bigger divide in our landscape. But it will be fascinating to watch, and I'll be there if I can.
Really quickly, Colby, we know right now the trial is set for April 17th. Is there any way it doesn't happen on that date?
I believe that it's 50-50 that it happens, because I believe it's all posture and positioning. It's always on the eve of the trial when a settlement arrives. And I think Fox News has the cash. They'll pay the cash to keep the embarrassment of their CEO and on-air talent being cross-examined. I think there's still a decent chance that happens.
All right. Well, Colby, we'll certainly have you back to discuss it all. Thank you, Colby.
Here for you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.